Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women. Today I would like to talk to you about choosing love over fear. Yes, choosing love over fear. Well, what do I mean by that? Or how this relates to you, me, and everyone around you? Well, if you look at the world today, the world that we're living in right now with this whole pandemic situation, many people are operating from a place of fear. Now, you've heard me talk about this before, right? Operating from a place of fear. And what does that do? It keeps us stuck, right? And so we need to be more trusting, right? To develop more love, right? To develop more kindness and not pay attention to mainstream media, right? And so everything that we know, that appears to be real is not actually real. And it may sound confusing to some, right? So let me explain. Some of you may or may not know, you all know that mainstream media is controlled, right? And so the things that we should be learning about, the things that we should be taught, we're not taught these things, right? We're not taught a lot of things. Let's think about it. No one in school, when you go to school, who is taught about money, the value of money and saving and life skills, right? Let's think about it. Life skills. We don't learn those things, right? And so everything we do, even from school-age children into adulthood, it doesn't teach you life skills, right? And so when we look at mainstream media, everything that we see is not always what it appears to be. Now, I just want to talk on the topic a moment on the verdict of George Floyd. We know that he was found guilty. The police officer, I think his name was Chauvin or something like that, he was found guilty, right? And so what does this mean, right? What does this mean for our community? What does this mean as far as policing, police reform? What does it all mean? And the reason why I want to talk about this today is because there is change happening, right? There is change happening, whether it's small change or big change, there is still happening nevertheless. And so with the verdict, this particular case, it sets an example, it sets a precedence of what we are hoping to achieve as far as police reform is concerned, right? And so those who are there to protect us and serve us, some, not all, I'm not putting anyone into a whole group of people into one category. And myself, I was in law enforcement. Those of you who know about my past work, that I was a correction officer for New York City for over 13 years or so. But anyway, so when I talk about this whole situation of this guilty verdict, what does it mean for us as a people of color, right? And so it is a step in the right direction. It is a step in the right direction. And we need to hold people accountable, right? We need to hold people accountable. So in order to do that, we have to use our voice. We have to push forward. We have to speak up and not be afraid. Now, this leads me into where I am going, right? Fear. And when we look at we're still having to wear the mask because of this new strain and all of that stuff. We have to, protect ourselves. And there's this whole fear out there, right? That's put out there. But what that does, when we operate from this place of fear, what it does is it keeps us stuck. It keeps us stagnant. It keeps us having the anxiety, the depression, right? It keeps us having all of these things. And not only that, it affects our health, right? It affects our health and it negatively impacts our health because if our bodies is always in this tense mode, under stress, constant stress, we know that brings about illness and disease, right? It's what they call the silent killer. So we have to be mindful again of this. We have to be mindful of what we're watching. We have to be mindful of the things that we talk about and the things that we want, right? We have to be mindful of our thoughts and our emotions, right? And ruling out fear is one of them. Ruling out fear is definitely one of them. So how do we go about doing that? If we come from a place of operating love, and we all have different cultures, backgrounds, faiths, religion, whatever. We all have these various different identities with ourselves. But at the end of the day, we are all one. At the end of the day, we all share one common thing, that we are all one. We are all connected, and we all want happiness, right? But a part of that happiness is to establish having love for one another, having love and appreciating, not necessarily that you have to agree and accept what someone else believe or whatever their faith or whatever their values or whatever. We all have our own different values, core values and things like that. But what I'm speaking of, the respect of another human being, the respect of one human being to another, and to be able to have a conversation, to be able to understand one another and our different cultures, values, and beliefs. We may not necessarily agree, and that's fine on everything, and that's fine to disagree. But coming from a place of just pure respect and operating from a place of kindness, operating from a place of love, and this is what will set you free. This is what will set you free. And people are out here in the world, some people may still be unemployed, right? And still stressing over things such as their livelihood, right? And that's totally understandable. That's totally understandable and expected, with this situation that's going on, this crisis at this time. But we have to rely on and trusting ourselves and believing in this higher power, right? Believing in this higher power and believing in ourselves that we are definitely one consciousness, right? And we move forward together as a force, as one force in this power of love, this universal love, universal love. And so when you come from that place and you understand that, because many people, I'll say this, many people are truly waking up, and they're waking up and they're no longer, and they see beyond what's presented to them, right? They see beyond what's presented to them. And so these people that are waking up, they are able to understand certain things. And that's why they don't operate from a place of fear. All right. And that's myself included, not operating in a place of fear. But when your focus and your intention is set on love, it prevails and it wins over everything. So to just explain further, with everything that's happening, and still having to wear the mask, right? And still having to do social distancing. What it does is keeps us separate. It keeps us from truly connecting with one another. Although we can still connect. We have Zoom, we have the text, all these different FaceTime video, Messenger, whatever. We have all these different technology things, right? But it's not the same as physical touch. With all the technology in the world, at least now at this time, we don't have the ability to actually physically touch someone, right? And the only way to do that is to be in their presence, is to be there in front of them. The only way to have that true connection is from being surrounded and interacting with one another face to face. And what I notice is, when I'm going out to the store, supermarket, or whatever, and I'm running errands, I notice some people enjoy being behind the mask, right? And I'm saying not in a way of protection, from the virus or anything like that, but they enjoy being behind the mask because with the mask is the dark shades. I'm observing, and they don't take the shades off when they go in the store. It's like there's this interest in being a mystery, right? And that's okay, to each his own. And I've noticed that more lately since this whole thing has happened, and wearing the shades and the hat pretty much covering, so you don't, all you see is just a head, right? And a hat covering over the forehead and the dark shades, and then there's the mask. So you don't know who that person is. So you can't even look at them and give a smile or say hello, unless they give you a wave, right? Unless they give you a wave, then okay, well, this person is looking at me and acknowledging me, and then you may just give a hello back. But for the most part, it's this whole thing has, I would say for some, yes, brought us closer, definitely. For some, yeah, definitely. But for others, this whole thing has brought separation and even heightened more anxiety, heightened more fear, right? Heightened more stress, brought about more of people resorting back to old habits, drinking, drugs, abusive behavior, being abusive, whatever. That's what I have seen happening, right? And not to mention suicide. And so this whole thing, this whole situation, this whole pandemic, and wearing the mask, has keeping us in this place of fear, right? Keeping us in this place of fear. But if we learn more and we educate ourselves more about healing and about health, right? And when you learn more and you educate yourself more on these things, and you start really trusting and believing and knowing that the body can heal itself, right? Knowing that the body can heal itself naturally, along with taking the right, eating the right foods and herbs and things like that. You really don't have much to worry about. Now, again, just as a reminder, we are all here for a term appointed, right? We're all here on this planet for a term appointed until that time comes when we must cross over. And there's nothing anyone can do to stop that. When it's your time, it is your time, right? There's nothing anyone can do to stop that. But while we are here on this planet, our focus should not be on fear. Our focus should be on love and being kind and what we can do to be better every day. That is the focus. That should be the focus. And how we can help and learn and understand one another despite our differences, right? Despite cultural differences, despite all of that. Getting to learn and understand one another and being able to respect one another and having a love for another human being without any conditions. Without any conditions. And love is so powerful. The power of love is stronger and it wins over fear every time because it's that powerful. And if we focus more on uniting rather than dividing one another, we can learn so much. And what role does that have on our health? Oh, it plays a powerful role. It plays a powerful role when you operate from a higher place of frequency of love. Okay? You're talking about mental clarity, right? Getting rid of your depression, anxiety, healing mental illness, better brain health, better physical health, being able to fight off diseases, being able to heal from chronic diseases, being able to see beyond what's presented before you, being able to grow and evolve spiritually, being able to be better than you were before, build better bonds, better relationships, right? But a person has to be there and a person has to want it. You have to want it. And so when we focus on choosing love over fear, there's a great reward and the reward is what I've mentioned. The reward is what I mentioned. And you can light the whole planet. You can illuminate the whole planet, right? With the power of love. Let's just think about it for a second. And really think about it. What you can do. And appreciating the things around you that the Creator has provided. And for me, I believe in a higher power. Okay? God, Allah, whatever you want to call him. I am Muslim. And God, Allah, it's used interchangeably. Now, I say this because some people are still walking around in the dark. They're still walking around in the dark. And they're just not able to see yet. Or maybe they're choosing not to see. We've been told so much, right? We've been told so much. And And I have nothing against doctors, right? They're only doing what they've been taught in school and trained, right? And so they're trained to look at symptoms, detect symptoms, and the treatment is a pill. The treatment is a pill. So when we look at that, because we see that we rely on being told what to do, right? We rely on, okay, we see the doctor, they say this is what it is and this is the only way. This is the way and this is the only way. This is the only way for you to overcome this health issue, disease, whatever, right? But if we start to expand and develop our own knowledge and do our own research, we will see that there are options, there are choices. But you don't know what you don't know. But when you do know what you do with that knowledge at that time, then it's up to you. Because as you know more, you do more and you do better. And that's what you should be doing. So looking at, let's say, someone being diagnosed with a terminal illness, being cancer, right? Can the body heal itself from cancer? Yes. Without chemotherapy? Yes. Yes. It's definitely possible. And it has happened for people, several individuals. And healing comes naturally from the body. The body finds a way to heal itself. And that's why we have to take care of this precious temple that we were given. This shell, this temple, we need to honor it. We need to honor it respectfully honoring our bodies, as well as the mind. So I don't want people to just be stuck in this place of fear. And your goal in life is not to just go to work and pay bills. And I've said this before. You should be striving to live towards this life of happiness. And it has nothing to do with the value of your car, the value of your house, or all your material things. It has nothing to do with that. Because there are some poor people, some of the poorest people are some of the happiest people. So it has nothing to do with wealth. It has nothing to do with material things. It's about, again, finding the way to connect with Source, connecting with the abundance that you've been given while you are here, right? Being in touch with nature, going outside, taking a walk outside and with the trees and the grass and the birds and the animals and the butterflies and, all of these things. All of these animals, trees, creatures, they all are to be respected. They're all to be valued because they all have a purpose. They all have a purpose, such as you and I. We all have a purpose. And so when we look at that from that perspective, you have to understand that nothing happens by accident. It's all by design. It's all by design. And us as human beings, despite different cultural backgrounds, right? Different races, ethnicities, we are all one. We are all the one at the end of the day. And it's choosing to rule out the noise that's keeping people stuck in this place of fear. and being afraid to do this and being afraid to step out and do that, or don't want to do this. It's what's keeping you stuck. And that too is by design. That too is by design. And I have to say it again to repeat it so that it can sink in. And when you pay attention to the news and mainstream media, is it more positive? Is it more things of happy news? Are they out there telling you to learn, get out in nature? And yeah, they talk about yoga, meditation, mindfulness, yes. But are they talking about homeopathic alternative medicine? Are they talking about natural healing? For the most part, no. And if so, it's a very short segment. But everything that will keep us in a place of separation, division, divisiveness, and keeping us at war with one another, we need to change that. We have to be the ones to change that. And the only way to change that is by coming together, by uniting and coming together as one for one purpose, one mission, and that is to spread the ultimate gift, and that is the gift of love, of operating out of love and choosing love over fear. Choosing love over fear. There's so much anger, bitterness, and hatred around the world, right? And these things and these beings and people that exist, right? That's their goal. That's what their goal, and that's what their mission is to keep perpetuating the lies, keep the divisiveness, right? Keep us separated, keep us ununited, keep us, at war with one another. So we need to change that. We need to change that. We need to be able to step into our truth, use our voice, and not be afraid. And not be afraid. And that's the way that we win. I want to see more happy faces, smile, say hello and how are you, and just, express more gratitude, more appreciation. My goodness, treat yourself, love yourself, do things for yourself, do things for others, right? Not at the expense of your health, of course, within boundaries, right? Because I'm always, that I'm an advocate for self-care, right? We need to do that. Let's focus on that. And that's why in this episode, I'm talking about choosing love over fear, and to learn to not be afraid and trust that you are okay. Trust that you are going to be okay. And you eliminate that fear by trusting and believing. All right. And if you are a person of faith, then whatever your religious beliefs are, trust it, and know that the Creator has your back. The Creator has your back. Okay, we know that there is a higher intelligence because we did not create the trees, we did not create the birds, we did not create any of those things that man cannot make. Right? Okay, with new technology, you have the cloning and all of that stuff. But outside of that, right? Outside of that, natural things that we ourselves, that was here before we were here. We know that there is a higher power, and that higher power prefer if you chose love over fear. And it would be better for you to choose love over fear and not be stuck. Don't get caught up in the matrix. Don't get caught up in this mainstream media, right? And things are changing. People are waking up. Things are slowly beginning to change, right? And so no more where who are supposed to serve and protect us can do things and to be able to get away with it. There'll be repercussions, right, for people's actions. There'll be repercussions for people thinking that they are above the law. And so no more of that. And we must continue to make sure that we use our voice to invoke change. Only we can do that. Only we can do that. And so I know I went off into a lot of different places, different areas, touching on different things, right? But it all goes back and equates up to one thing of operating out of love, operating from a spirit of love and kindness rather than fear, choosing that love over fear. And I'm hoping that you have gotten some peace out of this episode today and will be able to apply it in your own life. Choose love over fear. Don't be caught in the matrix. Appreciate every moment you have with your family, your friends. Appreciate the simple things in life. Operate from a place of gratitude, right? Have that attitude of gratitude. And you will see how it serves you. And you will see how it serves you in a big way, in a major way. And it will help you emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and even financially, right? Because as we begin to learn more and we expand our knowledge, we do better with what we know by applying what we know. So that's all I have for you today. I thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.